Hey brothers and sisters of YouTube and brothers and sisters in Christ. Just going for a walk down the beach, and it's a lovely sunny day for winter. And I was just thinking to myself, how do these narcs families hang around and put up with the BS from them? Like, they know what this family member's like. They know what they've been through. And when that narcissist loses all their friends from their collapse, the collapse of their mask, they only have family to rely on. And I know for a fact that my ex has her family in full support, and it's like when I met her, she was in court for like 8 years with her ex. Like, 2 of those years were while I was on the scene. No, 1 of those years was while I was on the scene, and then she added another year on after that because she wanted to do property settlement. And you're thinking, after 8 years of separation, you haven't even done property settlement. Now, this cost me 50 grand just for those 2 years on the tail end. Now, when she is bad-mouthing her ex, she'd be like, oh, he just wanted to keep things going. He just wanted to, like, it was all him. And I later found out, knowing what I know now, that it wasn't him at all, it was her. And, like, she'd show me text messages on the phone all the time, like, oh, look at these nasty text messages he sent me. And there'd be a wall of text there. And she'd be like, see, he just loves me. He loves me. He just can't let me go. And it's like, I remember when I was checking my Facebook and how she had deleted all her messages, and then it just looks like you've got a whole wall of text. So basically, all she'd done is she's provoked him to get angry, and when he did get angry, she just deleted her part of it. And if you're using the right apps, it actually hides the fact that the message is deleted. This is how cunning these narcissists are. And, so now she's doing the same thing to me. Like, it hadn't even been 3 months and she's already trying to put a VRO on me and drag me through court. And it's like, hasn't your family learnt by now? Can't they see the signs that, like, you've done this to at least one fella already? And I know there was a guy in the middle, so I don't know what happened with him, but he must have been too smart for you and got away. And I'm not talking about this is the only other man she's had. This is the only other main supply. Like, she would have had one night stands and lots of other people in between, just because she could get away with it. But the funny thing is, right, so her court stuff finalised, I think it was either May or June 2024, and now it's like July 2025. So the narcissist has had 1 year's gap between being in court. I think when I had trouble with my daughter and her mother, we went to court for a year, and that was it, and never again. And it's like, why would you want to keep a man stuck all that time that obviously doesn't want you anymore? Like, she's literally kept this man stuck for 8 or 9 years, and then she's trying to do the same thing with me when she already is looking around for other men. It's like, what is the point? Can you tell me that? I'm not a detective, but if you had 3 men in your life, and the most they lasted, like, you had 2 that were around 4 years and 1 that was 2 years, and you tell the family, like, oh no, they were emotionally unstable, no, they were violent, no, they were this, they were that, and your family doesn't turn around and say, hey, you know what, I think you're the problem. I don't think it's this other person, because let's face it, you've done this 3 times and always the same result. Like, that leads me to believe that the main ones that are really in cahoots and It's like almost like a racket for them is the family. Especially with mine being from a Vietnamese country and being from the streets, it's almost like a family of thieves. Like, who can we rip off today? And this was not the story that my so lovely narcissistic ex-partner told me. She told me this story that rag to riches tale of, we actually came from riches. We used to be in Saigon, but because of my brother, he lent money to his then girlfriend, and he lost it all, my parents' money. So we went from, riches to rags, and it was all my brother's fault. The family don't want to blame him though, and so they blame the brother. But I know that story is not true now, because it's quite clear my ex was from the streets, and so was the family. Because basically, the way they behave, like to accept like the ridiculous statements she'd be telling them about me being a bad guy, when they've seen me bring her to the family and pay for everything twice in Vietnam, which is a lot of money, because I'm not just paying for her parents. They expect you to pay for the whole family, the uncles and aunties who want to go out for dinner, and that's just expected. And then they're going to turn around and say, after they'd spent a month with me and 3 weeks with me another time, that I'm a bad guy, when they've never seen me flip out the whole time I was there. Even when they're sitting there talking Vietnamese and just being really disrespectful, and especially there's some there that could speak English, but they just decided to disrespect me instead. And I still kept my cool, and she's trying to say that I'm a bad guy. It's like, yeah, I think the whole family's in on it, hey? And you gotta watch that, because narcissists love to be around their own. And who better to train a narcissist than their parents? Than a society that thrives on narcissism, because in Vietnam it's very dog eat dog. The streets that she was from was very busy, and everyone was very poor, and even the coffee shops were not making much money, but they were everywhere, and people were cooking food out of the base of their house, almost like the garage of their house, and they always made nice fresh food, but they weren't making much money. And so for that kind of society, it's easy to see why they turn to crime. And I think, you need to be real careful of narcissists, because you need to check their fruit, not just their fruit, but the people they hang out with. Because there was many warning signs with my ex. She had so many friends that were tarts, whores, prostitutes, whatever you want to call them. They didn't value any man. They'd just go after all of them. And I used to say to her, they're not good friends to have. This one's always playing up. And she'd say, yeah, I don't know why she does that. And I knew deep down that she was like it too. But I just thought, God can heal her. If she gets God in her life, it'll change her. But from what I've learnt now, I don't think there's much changing these people. They're full of pride, and they never seem to accept any accountability for their actions. The trouble with the narcissists, they get worse once they go in church, because they take their whoring into consideration with God. They go, I can play the harlot with God too. I can make the Most High my main supply, and I can just have Buddha as well, and I can have the whole pantheon of heaven, which God basically really hates, and he gives a stern warning about that in the Bible a few times. And they still do it anyway. And the whole time God's telling them, look, you can't be doing that. And unlike a Christian that would be convicted and go, I don't want to get in trouble, they're just like, who are you to tell me that? Well, only the person that created you and everyone else. But this is how prideful they are, and they think they're the best. And my ex was far from the best. The main reason I took her on was because I thought she's a single mum. She looks like she's a loyal person. Son seems to like her. It wasn't so much to do on the looks side of things, and that's the thing. She thought she was really, really pretty. Like she called herself a queen. She was Queen, her name, and so much so that some of her friends would call her it. Because the narcissist only has friends with enablers or people that are accepting of their delusions. And the sad thing is, a queen are normally beautiful. They're normally really striking. She was not this, but that's what made it worse. Because they sleep around with all these different people, and you're thinking, I can understand if you were top shelf and you were having trouble like beating men with a stick. You broke your stick because you were really good looking, but she was not this, and she just cheated regardless. And it's also why she keeps coming home, like, even though we have nothing to do with each other. It's like, they didn't let you sleep over. They didn't want your son to come over for a play. Like, this is what the narcissists seem to forget. They think, we can just get another you. You're replaceable. This is how they treat you. And then they can't find that person. And then they're like, I've really screwed up here. But they won't admit it, because they know to admit it is to admit defeat. And then their whole world, their ego world, would come crashing down. Another red flag you should watch out for is if this narcissist woman has 2 jobs, has a bunch of furniture, and has way too many clothes that a person should have. Like, I'm talking filling up every wardrobe in the house. And then you come on the scene and they want you to pay for everything. And they want you to pay for them and their son while they're working 2 jobs. And they're prioritising their jobs over their kid, over you. And you don't see that money because they're just like, well, I have to send some back to my parents. And they make other excuses why they've got no money. And then you find out later, not only do you have these 2 jobs and you're putting money aside for yourself, but you've had to have a credit card. You've had to have a bunch of different personal loans, which you never needed to get because you had 2 jobs. You could have just saved up and bought these things. But they don't. They just love money so much that if a credit card's offers, it's like, oh, yes, thank you. And if they can't pay it off, they just go on a debt collection. Because a lot of the time when you can't pay a credit card off, the debt collectors just buy it, and if they can't get in contact with you, they just keep trying to get in contact, but nothing eventuates from it. So this is what the narcissist figures out early, and they just end up just keep doing it for as long as they can. And I'm surprised because when it happened in my situation, I actually paid off all her debts, all her personal loans. So I guess that made her credit better than it was. But then the fact that she had another credit card when we split it, we'd only been together for 3.5 years. It's like, how can you owe money again? Like, did you not learn your lesson? Especially as I was paying for everything. It made no sense to me, but this is what they do. They just love money so much, and they think so highly of themselves that if you're on the income of a carer and you've got 2 jobs, you've got a bit of money, but you're not rich. So when you go around pretending you're rich and going up to your friends and saying, I'm going to spend $300 or $400 on dinner just so I can pay for everyone at the table and make myself seem good, you don't have that kind of money to do that because you don't have that kind of income. But they just love spending money, they love money, and they love collecting gold. Like the shrines they have of necklaces and jewelry and watches, things they'll probably never ever wear, and they just have so much of it. It's ridiculous. And the shoes, oh man, it's crazy how much stuff they have. And don't get me wrong, I've got about 5 pairs of shoes, and that's including a pair of steel cap work boots. And if I had to really push it, like I had a wedding going, I'd probably just go and buy a good pair of leather boots, you know, and I might sell them again afterwards. But even though, like, I do have some nice clothes, I don't go out of my way to have thousands of them. Like, if someone sees me wear something 10, 20 times, it doesn't mean it goes out of fashion, you know. But with a narc it does. Like, they have to be seen and trendsetters. And not only that, they have to have different illusions. Like, in my case, my ex had these really short shorts that only an 18 or 20-year-old could pull off. And she's had a kid, so she, you know, what's the common term? She's got a busted behind because she, you know, has had kids. Like, it's not like it used to be. And anyway, sorry, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is that does not work for her anymore. And the fact that she's got a kid, she had a partner, and she would still wear those shorts out when she was out with her slutty friends. And that wouldn't matter if I was there, her kid was there. She'd just dress really inappropriately in front of everyone. But then when the different crowds are there, like the high rollers that dress better, she'll dress appropriately, like she's Margaret Thatcher or, you know, Marilyn Monroe or something. And sometimes she'll dress up like she's the freaking queen. Like, but the fact that she dresses up in all these different outfits with different people should tell you something straight away, that there's something wrong with this person, you know. Especially if you've seen, because they love to just flaunt it on Facebook, if you've seen all this stuff, surely the people that have seen her in good clothes and see her in the slutty gear, they should be able to twig, hey, she's from the streets. A woman her age should not be dressing like that. But for some reason, people have so much cognitive dissonance that they're just on the washing machine spinning around, and they don't seem to realise these red flags, you know. And like, she's friends with the doctor, and that she got through a friend, and so she'll dress up all like prim and proper with him, so she can see if she can bag one of the doctor's friends, or maybe even the doctor themselves, because narcissists don't seem to care if you're married or not. Like, if they want you, if they want what you have, like your money, your status, they'll go after you. And say a doctor says something semi-friendly to her and gives her a smile, it'll be like, oh, I've got him, I'm in, because he smiled, so he's got a weak point. And a normal person would not exploit that, but a narcissist will. And they'll be as patient as they have to be to get there, until they get there. And then they'll do the same thing they do to every other supplier. They'll try and take them for all they've got, and then just leave them in the dust. And then somehow that new supply as well will be a problem. Like, because the narcissist never does anything wrong. But you got to wonder, if you're friends with this person for 10 or 12 years, which some of her enablers have been, how have you not figured it out yet? Are you really that stupid? Like, it's not hard to figure out. I'm not an investigator, but I'm starting to think I probably could be. The way, like, I see things and pick them up. Yeah. Anyway, it's just a quick message to sort of get my thoughts out there. It's amazing how God kind of he puts things in your head later. Like, he doesn't want to give you the full story of what these narcs do. because it would be too upsetting to think of like all the betrayal they've done and they never own up to it. But for me, I don't really care at this stage. I just want to live in peace and move on and find someone that actually values me, because I'm high value, even though she doesn't think I am. And yeah, so God bless all of you. Remember, Jesus loves you and I love you.